Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, if you haven't heard by now, Gary Gensler's coming for staking in crypto, and that isn't all. We need to talk about how Ripple and XRP specifically are going to navigate from here, ladies and gentlemen. We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, it's $1.07 trillion market cap for crypto. It's off by 4.2%. Good afternoon, everybody. 21,800 plus now for Bitcoin. It's off by 3.3% in the last 24 hours from the news from the SEC. 1544 and change, and off by 5.4% on the 24-hour is Ethereum. We see Tether market cap at $68.2 billion. XRP right now is 38 cents. It's off by 4.7% on the 24-hour as well. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done it, let me tell you right now, this is no joke. I'm going to give this to you. This is the learning curve that you need right here. It's the Digital Perspective Mastermind Group. Get a VIP ticket to the upcoming first ever XRP Las Vegas event. It is going to be incredible with the annual membership. You get this. Can't keep up with everything. Market is collapsing around you. Get the tools you need, whether it's an investor checklist, portfolio creation, groups and lessons, support from an incredible community, and private weekly live streams. This is the time when real wealth is made, ladies and gentlemen. Join that group. Get that VIP ticket if you're an annual member, and sign up right here for the XRP Army event of a lifetime. It's XRP Las Vegas. Don't miss it, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be remarkable. We're going to be announcing next week publicly some of the people that you're going to get to meet and rub elbows with and hear speak on stage at the first ever XRP Meetup. XRP Las Vegas is going to be remarkable. I can already tell you and assure you of that. Blockchain Association calls on Congress to intervene in SEC attack on crypto industry. Shout out to Jake. Yeah, Jake Chervinsky and Blockchain Association for standing up right there. We need to unite now more than ever. Just as Brad Garlinghouse has told us in the months past, weeks past, tribalism isn't worth holding on to. That's why I've gone as far as to say that John Deaton is not just representing XRP holders, 76,000 plus. John Deaton is representing the entire crypto retail space. Don't believe that, it's still true. Stuart Alderati, Ripple Legal General Counsel, comes out and supports the comments from Brad Garlinghouse we covered in this morning's video, where he provides examples of clarity around the world and the steps that are being made and the inclusive approach around the world to get crypto regulations and digital asset regulations broadly. And in comparison to what we're experiencing here in the United States, Stuart Alderati echoes that with today's U.S. crypto-related doom scrolling aside. There are some positive updates elsewhere in the world highlighted here from Brad, as you could see. And he cites different areas like UK, which we know is announced to be a crypto hub, Australia, we know Singapore and Dubai and South Korea as other places that are working towards a common goal. Here's J.W. Verrett here, former SEC advisor to none other than Goldman Gary Gensler. He says they're coming. Look, he retweets here the good morning, firing off a newsletter shortly about, what's going on with Bitcoin, crypto mining, Senator Warren, Kraken settlement, and yada, yada, yada. J.W. Verrett cuts right through the fat and says they're coming after proof of work and proof of stake and bank accounts of anyone near crypto. Now do you get it? I don't want to hear any more about the damn executive order or about the preferred regulator or about responsible innovation, educating the regulator, or any conciliatory garbage. Finally, somebody's reached the place where we've been at. Yeah, welcome to the show, everybody. This is it. This is what we're witnessing. But it gets worse. Oh, yeah, it gets worse. I can tell you it gets worse. We got Gary Gensler right here is going to tell it to you and tout his win and his muscle that he's using from the SEC. And it is disgusting. But listen to what he says here on CNBC.
Well, let me ask you, talking about clarity, and this is maybe a philosophical, sort of broader policy perspective. I think that there is a common view that your office is using all available means effectively to keep crypto out of the mainstream financial system through enforcement, accounting rules, inspections. Clearly, there's not real guidance yet on custody. And this may very well be a reasonable policy choice, if that's the choice. The question is, if that's the choice, why not just say it publicly?
We're using all available tools. We're talking directly to market participants. We take the meetings and we say, this is how you comply. There's a handful of tokens that have actually registered. The intermediaries, the storefronts, if you wish, the casinos that people are investing in and investing at need to properly comply and disentangle these bundled products. The business model that they've set up is rife with conflicts. And so we've been very candid with them. I've done it in multiple speeches since I came to the agency. We'll continue to engage. We're technology neutral. But if this field has any chance of survival and success, it's time-tested rules and laws to protect the investing public. Disclosure, full, fair, and truthful disclosure. Address conflicts and disaggregate these bundled businesses, and don't have your hand in the customer's pocket using their funds or your own platforms.
But in terms of the larger industry and whether you even seem to suggest the larger industry may or may not survive. One of the pieces of that survival to some degree, I think, has been this idea that one day there may be something like a Bitcoin ETF or something else. Grayscale, as you know, appealing the SEC's Bitcoin ETF decision, which is effectively to say it can't happen. Is there any path at which you think either that specific ETF or something like it could?
The paths, I'm not going to speak about one, but let me generally say, Andrew, the path forward is well trodden. Whether it's large companies that you follow every day, the Apples and other tech companies, or the automobile companies, manufacturing companies know how to register their offerings. The exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ and so forth know how to be compliant and come into registration. The big broker dealers and the small, thousands of broker dealers, the mutual funds. Right. I dare go on. We have tens of thousands of registrants that properly, in good faith, comply. They register, they make the proper disclosures. It's time for this group to do so. The runway is getting awfully short, and we're here to try to protect the investing public.
Try to protect the investing public. We should be able to go, and innovators and entrepreneurs should be able to go to the SEC, and as you see the Howey test, which is an ad hoc test, you should be able to see a list of bullet points. Here's what you need to do if you're qualifying. This qualifies you if you do these things, if you fall under this bracket of items. And if you fall under this bracket of items, obviously, this is not that hard. And, we all understand that, to say the least, that Goldman Gensler is being completely disingenuous. They are offering no clarity and no guidance when you go to see them. If you don't believe me, ask anyone who goes to see them. They come out of there going, Jesus, we're getting sued. And by the way, if you're thinking about going in there, I wouldn't go there. I'd go to another country and launch my project instead of walking through those doors. And it would make sense because Gary sees the legacy firms that have been taking a beating from this new emerging asset class as central monopolists is what he calls them. And what I believe we're witnessing here is a slime ball like this gentleman right here doing the bidding for them by creating more vagueness, more suppression, more lack of clarity and fear in this space to squash out the money that's been brought in here. So the legacy firms, or as Goldman Gensler likes to say, the central monopolists, can come in and rule the roost. Don't believe it, it's still true. And here, I believe, stands evidence of exactly that. While Gary Gensler comes after places like Kraken over crypto staking, look at what it says here. Shout out to Jesus Guerrero for this one. Kraken has agreed to end its chain staking services for U.S. clients only, starting today, with the exception of staked Ether. Ooh. With the exception of staked Ether, assets enrolled in on-chain staking programs by U.S. clients will automatically be unstaked and will no longer earn staking rewards. Further, U.S. clients will not be able to stake additional assets, including ETH. But I tell you what, look at this, everybody. It looks like East Free Pass is happening all over again. Meanwhile, Russian government gives a green light to crypto mining operation in Siberia. What the hell is going on? I think we know exactly what's going on. I want to remind you of it right now. You know the coveted bit license and how hard it is to get. Let us not forget that while all of this turmoil is taking place in the crypto winter, don't forget, Circle has one, Coinbase has one, Bitflyer's got one, Genesis Global Trading's got one, and so does XRP and Ripple. Keep that in mind. Keep it in mind that we're watching the prepare of a massive devaluation of the U.S. dollar if Saudi Arabia joins Russia in the BRICS alliance. Two of the largest oil exporting nations will overthrow the petrodollar as a reserve currency. But I tell you, I think it happens over time, I would say myself. And the reason I say that is because we know that those countries that want to get away and abandon the petrodollar actually hold a lot of the petrodollar's bonds. So it has to be a measured effort, I would believe. That's at least my thought on the matter. But let's think of this for a moment. How do we get here? I thought this was a nice reminder. You've probably seen this 1921 New York Tribune article where, but you have to read it. And it was back in the day when Henry Ford had proposed to move to an energy currency that could replace gold. Now, obviously, this gentleman was promoting Bitcoin in the thread itself, but I thought to myself, well, this really reminds me a lot of exactly what I talk about when I speak of the XRP possibly being a stable coin. And let me get to that very quickly here. Now, I shared this the other day as a thought exercise. You know, XRP, I believe, is a virtual currency, certainly a digital asset, not a cryptocurrency. I believe that we could actually make an argument that the case, although it was used as a weapon in the beginning, and I believe it was due to inside knowledge that public officials had, and they picked up the phone and called their boys at JP Morgan and got busy doing Ethereum while they knew XRP was going to be sued. That's what I really believe. And at the end of the day, turns out that the case ends up being an insulary bubble from all the crypto winter because XRP was delisted or taken down off of over 100 exchanges. So in an unexpected way, it is worked to serve as an insulator of what is taking place in this space. It has allowed Ripple to continue to do business around the world, hasn't it? But what I want to say is this. Understanding what the United States is doing to crypto, let us not forget that I believe it is quite possible that XRP could become a stable coin the way the World Bank says so, or the way the former governor of the Bank of England has suggested, or the way the Bank of China has suggested. And if it were to get such a designation, it must get it, I would imagine, from Treasury, FSOC, or Congress alike through legislation. Now, with that being said, how would that work? It would work much like I show you here, right? XRP sells some to on-demand liquidity partners. They use it for a real use case. XRP buys back off of the retail exchanges and redirects it to ODL as it grows. As that happens, through the buying and selling, you can decide to sell more, sell less. You can decide to buy more off the market or buy less off the market. And this is really sound monetary policy, much like the Fed does with buying and selling treasury bonds, or much like a company does when they buy and sell their own stocks to keep a certain valuation. It's not illegal. I think what's going on here is sound monetary policy, because Ripple has the ability to have access to a pre-allocated amount of money called XRP that sits in an escrow release. And they have been a great steward of that XRP escrow. And I believe it would take the knowledge of someone very well versed to be able to help Congress and the Treasury and FSOC as a former Ripple advisor, not because it's some inside guy. That's not what I'm saying. But because someone understands how the token works and the tokenomics of XRP works, and how you could make it a very, very stable price through its demand function. The question remains is, will Ripple former advisor Michael S. Barr, former Treasury member, former architect of FSOC itself, see it the same way, and will he be able to convey that message and understanding to those officials? And if he does, what will it really look like if XRP becomes a stable coin as the World Bank sees it? Well, I talked to Joshua Barbin on this thread here, and Joshua Barbin had that great, incredible probability outcome for the SEC, if you remember, that Jeremy Hogan shared with everyone. He said, people don't like this theory, BK, but if XRP actually did get adoption as a stable coin that represents interbank and non-bank exchange, current Fed funds, LIBOR, SOFR, repo, and the rest of it, then yeah, this is probably the most likely scenario. It's more likely than invoking Article 5, which I believe is to seize and take an asset. I completely agree. You know, I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying if it were to find its way here, and with everything we're seeing from the SEC, and no one in Congress is trying to stop them, just maybe, XRP may become a stable coin. And if it did, and all of those things came to fruition over time, I don't think it'll be worth $1 either. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives.